a moment. We're saying no, so seriously, turn, hug each other. Make a moment out of this and remember you were here.
Find out when the hell that
This
was.
happened.
No one's come up to you.
This had to happen.
Nope. She knew me.
The fact that we are not allowed to smile and recognize each other anymore should really scare everybody deeply. I went to breakfast this morning, as I'm sure many of you have done this, and Jimmy and I, my manager, walked into the restaurant, and the young guy there with his mask on said, I'm sorry, sir, do you have a mask? I said, yes. He's like, would you put it on? I said, no. And he said, but you have to wear it in this restaurant.
You have a
I
mask.
said,
He says yes.
well,
He says, will you
no,
put it on?
clearly I
He
don't
says,
have to
no.
wear it in the restaurant because 5 feet away, those people aren't sitting at the booth wearing it. He said, well, you don't have to wear it at the booth. I said, well, then how far do I have to walk to the booth? He said, well, it's right over there. I said, so then we're going to walk over there without a mask. And he said, I'm sorry. He said, what are you sorry? I said, okay. I was like, can you explain to me then the science behind this virus that makes it that it cannot, we need to wear a mask here, but 5 feet from here is perfectly safe to not wear a mask. I mean, you recognize, right, that breath comes out, we're aerosolizing, moisture in the air no matter what we do, and this room is filled with the breath of everybody sitting at their tables right now. They said, well, sir, it's the mandate by the state. Okay. So if the state mandated you to jump off a cliff, would you? You see, none of this makes any sense. And we are walking through these situations and we're allowing it to somehow act like it makes sense. And I want to talk about that today, and I'm probably going to get a little bit risky with this conversation, so I hope you'll oblige me. Someone said to me, thank you, Del, for being so dangerous today. Whoever you are, if that's what you call it, okay. So, here's what I want to say, and I'm going to step out on a limb here and say that a lot of people in this audience come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. I see us all together in many ways, but this may be hard to hear. Your God is not powerful enough to protect you. Your God, though your churches have said one thing, it appears that your God, in creating you in the image and likeness of himself, made a mistake. Made you actually flawed. Perhaps we should call it the true original sin. You see, your body is not capable of protecting you on the same planet that this same God created. Your God didn't make you strong enough and didn't recognize, obviously God forgot, unfortunately, that there was going to be bacteria and viruses on this planet. And that was an oversight. So God left you vulnerable to viruses and bacteria. And anyone that tells you that God loves you and is there for you, you must clearly recognize that that is not true. That you are vulnerable. You are in danger. And anyone that made you believe that you were protected lied to you. I know a lot of you are looking at me saying, where is he going with this? What I'm saying is, that is the new religion that has taken over this planet. That is the voice that you are adhering to when you put on that mask for that 5 feet to the booth. And I don't care not my church, not someone else's synagogue, and I don't care what temple, I don't care what person stands there representing God. If you say that we are vulnerable, that we should wear masks, then I must say you have lost your faith. Now there's those out there amongst you that probably don't believe in God, and that's okay too. You believe in science, and you're buying into this idea, well, religion has no place up against science. You see, science overrides religion. There's lots of politicians passing laws all across this country right now that make that abundantly clear. You see, we have science, but what you have is a faith-based piece of nonsense and a belief in something that does not actually exist. And I have something to say about that because I actually understand science, and I read science, and I study science. And so I want to tell those of you out there that think that your science stands up against my religion, that what you think is science is merely a religion too. And that's what I want to explain today. If I had my way, I don't care about a religious exemption or a philosophical exemption. I'm looking for a state to pass a scientific exemption. Because I'm demanding that science take place immediately. You have all been hoodwinked. This is not science that we're up against right now. This is a religion that should be called scientism, based on faith and assumptions and dreams and hopes and ambitions and finances. But it's not based in reality. And it certainly has never tested itself, which makes it another religion. And so, as you try to say your science as a governor or a mayor or a president or whatever you are, your science trumps my religion, I say, no, 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 no. Your science does not trump my God. Your religion of science does not take away the need for testing and understanding and proof. And since you can provide no proof, because I've looked for it for the last 5 years, it's been my #1 study. Vaccines, and one word, safety. It does not exist. So let me make this clear. I've been traveling the country. How many people have seen Vax? Just so I have a sense of how many are out there. So Vax changed my life. Put me out in front of the cameras and on microphones like this all around the world. And I'm not psychic. I'm not a seer. I'm a researcher. I'm an investigator. And from that position, I have been saying for the last 3 years, and very, very loudly for the last year, the pharmaceutical industry is going to attempt to take over every government in the world. And audience sat there and thought at times, well, that sounds really dramatic, but you know, I guess he's dramatic. But I said, you know that the most powerful lobby in Washington is pharma? It's outspending oil and gas 2-to-1. We fight wars in the Middle East for oil and gas What do you think pharma is buying when they're spending twice as much to put your governor in office, to put your senator in office, to put your congressman in office? What are they buying? I don't see a war. I don't know what they're looking for. But I saw that funding going into every government agency in the world. And then lo and behold, surprise, surprise, a virus that we use to make everybody so afraid that we must now put every single government in the world in the hands of the health department. That's what just happened, right? Every president, every prime minister, even dictators have stepped aside to put doctors in charge. How do you like it?
Boo!
How's it turning out?
Boo!
Not so good, right? As it turns out, doctors are really bad at running nations. So let's look at how this happened. I know those of you who are out there and you're not wearing your mask right now, but you'll go back to it. In the back of your head, you're thinking to yourselves, but Del, people have died. I lost my YouTube channel for saying things like, this is a bad cold, folks. It's another flu. It's always been here. We've been saying it for months. But let me just explain very quickly for those of you that don't watch The High Wire. Would you like to know how you take a common cold and destroy the world and get away with it? I'll tell you how this happened. It's really simple. So, a coronavirus is a cold. We've called it a cold. There's rhinovirus and a couple other things we'll call a cold. Now, who remembers them saying there's no such thing as a cure for the common cold? Weird, right? But now all of a sudden, in 6 months, we're going to suddenly come up with a cure for the common cold. And wait, we just need you to destroy your lives until we get to that point. That's right, we're waiting for the vaccine unicorn is what I call it. Have you ever seen more reporting on an imaginary product and the idea, like governors, people say we are going to mandate this product that does not exist on this planet as we speak right now? It's absolutely insane. But here it is. Very quickly, here is how you create a pandemic with a cold. Here's how you get 170,000 deaths in the United States of America. And here's how you make everybody denounce their God on Easter, on Passover, on Ramadan, all of which took place. So, for those of you that don't recognize, the coronavirus has been in America since at least we know beginning of January, late December, maybe even earlier, but not a single agency in this country will test blood banks before December because they're terrified of what they might find. If we find out that this virus was here before we saw people falling over in China, the entire story ends. You recognize that? The story is over. So let's just take what we've been told and their word for it. In December, a virus got here. It is, as they say, one of the most infectious illnesses we've ever seen. Many reports 50 to 80 times more infectious than we even realized when we were being really paranoid about it. And it swept the country, okay, by the millions. But when you look at every graph, as I've shown you on the High Wire, there is no uptick in deaths in December, no uptick in January or February, but not until the end of March, suddenly, all of a sudden, boom, people start dying. And I ask myself, what happened at the end of March that suddenly COVID broke loose and started wiping out people, especially in New York? In fact, let's use New York as